Jake Morrison stood at the front window of his ship, looking out at the endless stars. He was the commander of the EU's Valiant, the first human ship built to travel far into space. The ship was huge, almost like a small city floating among the stars. 3 months ago, they had left Earth on their first long journey to explore what was out there. The ship was quiet, except for the soft hum of machines working. Jake liked these peaceful moments. He had been in the military for 20 years, and he knew that quiet times like this did not last long. His crew was good people. They had trained together for 5 years before this trip. Each person on the ship was the best at what they did. "Commander Morrison, please come to the communications room right away." The voice belonged to Lisa Carter. She was young, but very smart with computers and radio signals. Something in her voice made Jake move fast. He walked quickly through the ship's hallways. The walls were metal gray, and bright lights showed the way. Other crew members nodded at him as he passed. Everyone looked calm, but Jake could tell something was different today. When Jake reached the communications room, he found Lisa sitting. In front of many screens and machines, her fingers moved fast over the controls. Numbers and wave patterns danced across the screens in colors of blue and green. She looked excited but also worried. "What do you have for me, Lisa?" Jake asked. "Sir, about 2 hours ago I picked up something strange," Lisa said, not looking away from her screens. "At first, I thought it was just space noise, but then I ran it through our computers. This is not natural, sir. Someone or something made this signal." Jake felt his heart beat faster. For 60 years, humans had been sending radio signals into space hoping to find other life. They had found nothing. Maybe something had found them first. "Show me what you have," Jake said. Lisa pressed some buttons, and the room filled with strange sounds. It was not like anything Jake had ever heard. The sounds went up and down in patterns. Sometimes they were high and sharp. Sometimes they were low and deep. But there was something about the pattern that seemed almost like music, or like someone trying to talk. "The signal is coming from far away," Lisa explained. "About 1,200 light-years from Earth. That is in the Kepler 442 star system. Our computers say there might be planets there that could have life." Jake stared at the screens showing the signal patterns. "Are you sure this is not some kind of mistake? Maybe it is just a strange star or something?" "No, sir. I am sure. Look at this part." Lisa pointed to one section of the pattern. "See how it repeats every few minutes? Hear these numbers. They show math problems. Simple ones like 2 + 2 = 4. Someone is trying to show us they can think and count." Jake felt a chill run down his back. Math was something all thinking beings would understand. If aliens were using math to talk, it meant they wanted to communicate. "Can we understand what they are saying?" Jake asked. "I am working on it, sir, but I think I need help. This is bigger than just me." Jake nodded. "Call a meeting. Get Ben Harper from engineering, Dr. Amanda Foster from medical, and Ryan Cole from security. Tell them to come right now." While Lisa made the calls, Jake kept staring at the signal patterns. Somewhere out there, someone was sending this message. Were they friendly? Were they asking for help? Were they warning Earth about something dangerous? His mind filled with questions. Ben Harper was the first to arrive. He was a big man with strong hands that could fix anything. Ben had built most of the important machines on their ship. Dr. Foster came next. She was smart and kind, the type of person who always wanted to help others. Ryan Cole came last. He was tall and moved like a soldier. His job was to keep everyone on the ship safe. "What is going on, Jake?" Ben asked. "We may have found what we came looking for," Jake said. "Or maybe it found us." He told them about the signal. Lisa played the sounds again and showed them the math patterns. Everyone listened without saying anything. When the sounds stopped, the room was very quiet. "This is amazing," Dr. Foster said. "We are really talking to aliens." "Maybe," Ryan said. He always thought about danger first. "We do not know what they want. This could be a trap." "A trap from 1,200 light-years away?" Ben laughed. "Ryan, you worry too much." "My job is to worry," Ryan said back. Jake held up his hand to stop them. "Lisa, how long would it take us to get to this Kepler 442 system, using our quantum drive?" "About 6 weeks, sir," she answered. Jake looked at each person in the room. These people were more than just his crew. They were his friends. Whatever they decided to do, they would do it together. I want everyone to think about this, Jake said. If we go to this signal, we will be the first humans to meet aliens. That is a big thing, but it is also dangerous. We do not know what we will find. Dr. Foster spoke first. I think we have to go. What if they need help? What if they are sick or hurt? As a doctor, I cannot ignore someone who might need medical help. I agree with Amanda, Ben said. We built this ship to explore. This is the biggest discovery in human history. Cannot just ignore it. Ryan was quiet for a moment. Then he said, I still think it could be dangerous. But if we are going to do this, we need to be ready for anything. I will make sure our weapons work and our defenses are strong. Jake nodded. Lisa, I want you to work on understanding more of this message. Try to figure out what they are saying. Ben, check all the ship's systems. Make sure we can make the trip safely. Amanda, think about what we might need if we meet aliens. Ryan, get our security ready. But remember, we are going as explorers, not as soldiers. What if they are more advanced than us? Lisa asked. What if their technology is much better than ours? Then we will learn from them, Jake said. But we will also show them what humans can do. We are tough people. We come from a world where life is not easy, that has made us strong and smart. Maybe that is something they need to know. Over the next few hours, the crew worked hard. They kept studying the signal. She found that the sounds repeated in cycles. Each cycle had the same math problems, but also had new parts. It was like someone was teaching them the language step by step. Ben checked every machine on the ship. Quantum drive was working perfectly. The life support systems were good. They had enough food and water for the trip. The ship was ready. Dr. Foster read everything she could find about meeting new life forms. She prepared medical supplies for different types of beings. She also thought about diseases. What if alien sicknesses could hurt humans? What if human sicknesses could hurt aliens? Ryan checked all their weapons and shields. The ship had strong defenses and powerful guns, but they were meant for protecting against space rocks and small dangers. If they met aliens with big warships, the Valiant might not be able to fight them. That night, Jake called the whole crew together, all 87. People on the ship came to the main meeting room. Jake stood in front of them and told them about the signal. We have a choice, he said. We can stay safe and continue our planned mission. Or we can go toward this signal and maybe make history. I will not order anyone to do this. We will vote, and everyone gets to choose. The vote was not close. 79. People voted to go to the signal. Only 8 voted to stay with the safe mission. Jake smiled at his crew. Then we go. 8. Lisa set our course for Kepler 442. Ben, get the quantum drive ready. Everyone else, prepare for the unknown. As the ship turned toward the distant star system, Jake wondered what they would find. He did not know that across the galaxy, desperate beings were waiting for any help they could get. He did not know that humans were about to show the universe something it had never seen before. The journey to answer the distress call had begun. 6 weeks later, the EU's Valiant dropped out of quantum drive at the edge of the Kepler 442 system. Jake Morrison stood on the bridge, watching the main screen as their sensors painted a picture of what waited ahead. What he saw made his blood run cold. The planet they were heading toward was beautiful. It was blue and green like Earth, with white clouds swirling around it. But surrounding this peaceful world were dozens of massive black ships. They looked like giant metal spears pointed at the planet below. Each ship was at least 3 times bigger than the Valiant. My God, whispered Dr. Foster, standing next to Jake. It looks like they have the whole planet trapped. Lisa Carter worked at her station, trying to scan the alien ships. Commander, I am picking up weapon signatures. From those vessels, big ones. They have enough firepower to destroy a planet. Ben Harper shook his head as he looked at the readings. Those ships are old, but they are built for war. Look at that armor plating and those guns. They are not exploring ships like us. Ryan Cole studied the enemy formation through his tactical display. Classic blockade pattern. They have cut off all escape routes from the planet. Nobody gets in or out without their permission. Jake felt a mix of anger and fear. They had come all this way hoping to meet new friends among the stars. Instead, they had found bullies attacking innocent people. Lisa tried to contact the planet. "Surface," Jake ordered. "Maybe we can talk to whoever sent that distress signal." While Lisa worked on communications, Jake watched the black ships. They seemed to be waiting. Some were firing energy beams down at the planet. Not enough to destroy it, but enough to hurt anyone who tried to fight back. This was not a quick attack. This was a slow conquest. "Sir, I have contact with the planet," Lisa announced. "The signal is weak, but I can get through." "Put it on screen," Jake said. The main display flickered, then showed a face that made everyone on the bridge gasp. The being looking back at them was clearly not human, but there was something beautiful about her appearance. Her skin was pale blue and seemed to glow softly. Her eyes were large and silver, and she had no hair. Instead, flowing patterns of light moved across her scalp like slow lightning. When she spoke, her voice was musical and sad. The computer translated her words into English. "Unknown vessel, I am Chancellor Lorraines of the Zephyrian Republic. We sent our distress call hoping someone would hear us, but we did not expect anyone to come. You must leave this system immediately. The Krathens will destroy you if you stay." Jake stepped forward. "Chancellor, I am Commander Jake Morrison of the human vessel Valiant. We received your distress signal and came to help. We are not leaving." Alien leader's eyes widened with surprise. "Humans, we have never heard of your species. Please, you do not understand. The Krathen Empire has been conquering worlds for 300 years. They are too strong. Your single ship cannot fight their entire fleet." Before Jake could answer, another voice cut into the communication. This voice was harsh and full of anger. The screen split to show a new face. This being looked like a cross between a lizard and a shark. His skin was dark green with scales, and his teeth were sharp points. Scars covered his face and neck. "So the little prey animals called for help," the creature said with a cruel laugh. "I am Admiral Vexstar of the Krathen Imperial Fleet. What pathetic species are you that answers distress calls from weaklings?" Jake felt his temper rise, but he kept his voice calm. "We are humans from the planet Earth. We came because someone asked for help." Admiral Vexstar laughed louder. "Humans. Another species of soft meat to add to the Empire's collection.
Oh.
Your ship looks primitive. Old chemical rockets and basic metal armor. How did you even manage to reach this system?" "We managed just fine," Jake replied. "Surrender now, human," Vexstar commanded. "Kneel before the Krathen Empire, and we might let your species live as servants. Fuse, and we will turn your ship into space dust." Jake looked around his bridge. His crew was watching him, waiting for his decision. Ben Harper cracked his knuckles, a sign that he was ready for a fight. Dr. Foster looked scared but determined. Ryan Cole was already studying the Krathen ships, looking for weaknesses. Lisa Carter's fingers hovered over the weapons controls. "Admiral Vexstar," Jake said slowly, "I have a counteroffer. You leave this system now, and we will not destroy your entire fleet." Both aliens stared at him in shock. Chancellor Lorraines looked terrified. Admiral Vexstar looked confused, then angry. "You dare threaten me?" Vexstar roared. "One primitive ship against my armada. You must be insane." "Maybe," Jake said with a cold smile. "But we humans have a saying. We do not like bullies." Jake cut the communication link. The screen went back to showing the Krathen fleet surrounding the planet. Commander Dr. Foster said quietly, "What are we doing?" "They have 40 ships. We have 1. "Amanda, how many ships did the British have at Rorke's Drift?" Jake asked. Ben Harper grinned. "None, but 150 British soldiers held off 4,000 Zulu warriors." "And how many ships did the Greeks have at Thermopylae?" Ryan Cole added. "Also none," Lisa said, catching on. "But 300 Spartans held off 1,000,000 Persians." Jake nodded. "Humans have been fighting impossible odds for thousands of years. We did not get to the top of Earth's food chain by giving up when things looked bad." He opened communications back to the planet. Chancellor Lorraines appeared on screen again, her glowing skin flickering with worry. Chancellor, tell me about your people, Jake said. We are a peaceful race, Commander Morrison. We have never known war. Our world is calm and safe. We spend our time learning and creating beautiful things. We have advanced technology for healing and growing food, but we have never built weapons. What about the Krathens? What do you know about them? They are an ancient empire. They travel from system to system, conquering everyone they meet. They take the strongest people as slaves and kill the rest. They have done this to hundreds of worlds over the centuries. No one has ever been able to stop them. Jake thought about this. The Krathens were used to fighting peaceful species that had never experienced war. They had never fought anyone who fought back with real knowledge of combat. Chancellor, does your people have any weapons at all? Anything we could use? We have mining equipment and construction tools. Some of our atmospheric processors are quite powerful, but Commander, you cannot fight them. Even if you had 100 ships like yours, the Krathens would still outnumber you. Ma'am, let me tell you something about humans, Jake said. We come from what you would probably call a death world. On Earth, everything tries to kill you. The weather, the animals, the plants, even tiny organisms you cannot see. Humans survive by becoming very good at two things: working together and fighting dirty. Oh, I do not understand, the Chancellor said. You will, Jake promised. Ryan, what do you see when you look at those Krathen ships? Ryan Cole studied his tactical display. Heavy armor against energy weapons. Massive guns designed for ship-to-ship combat against similar vessels. Good shields against plasma and laser fire. What do you not see? Jake asked. Ryan smiled slowly. Point defense systems. Anti-missile defenses. Electronic warfare countermeasures. They have never fought anyone who uses kinetic weapons or cyber attacks. Lisa, can you get into their communication systems? Already working on it, sir. There. Security is terrible. They seem to think that no one would ever try to hack their systems. Ben, what can our industrial fabricators make in the next 12 hours? Ben Harper's grin got wider. With the mining equipment and raw materials we have on board, Commander, I can make things that will give those Krathens nightmares. Jake turned back to Chancellor Lorraines. Ma'am, we are going to help you. But I need to know, are there any of your people who can fight alongside us, even if they have never done it before? Some of our atmospheric technicians and engineers might be able to help, she said uncertainly. But Commander, we are not warriors. Like you appear to be? You do not have to be warriors, Jake said. You just have to be smart and brave. Can your people follow instructions? Yes, of course. Good. Then here is what we are going to do. Over the next hour, Jake explained his plan to both his crew and the Zephyrian leadership. It was risky and would require perfect timing, but it might work because the Krathens would never expect it. Admiral Vextar had given them 24 hours to surrender. Jake planned to use every minute of that time. As his crew began preparing for battle, Jake looked out at the stars. Somewhere, out there was Earth, where humans had learned to survive against impossible odds. Today, the galaxy was about to learn what happened when you picked on someone under human protection. The Krathens thought they were dealing with another weak species. They were about to discover their first and last mistake about humanity. War was coming, and humans wrote the book on it. The next 18 hours passed like a whirlwind of activity aboard the UES Valiant. Jake Morrison had divided his crew into teams, each working on a different part of their impossible plan. The ship's workshops and fabrication areas had never been so busy. Ben Harper worked in the main engineering bay with 6 of his best technicians. The room was filled with the sounds of cutting tools, welding equipment, and heavy machinery. Sparks flew as they modified mining equipment into something much more dangerous. Hand me that plasma cutter, Tony, Ben said to one of his workers. We need to reshape these mineral extraction charges. Tony Martinez passed him the tool while sweat dripped down his face. The temperature in the workshop had risen 20 degrees from all the machines running at once. Ben, are you sure these things will work? Trust me, Ben said with a grin. Back on Earth, Humans have been throwing rocks at each other since the beginning of time. We just got really good at throwing them faster and harder. What Ben was building looked simple, but deadly. Using the ship's mining explosives and metalworking equipment, he was creating what humans called kinetic penetrators. These were long metal rods that could be fired at incredible speed. When something that heavy hit something else at high velocity, the results were devastating. The Krathens have never seen anything like this, Ben explained to his team. Their shields stop energy weapons like lasers and plasma bolts. But these are just pieces of metal moving very fast. No shield in the universe can stop a big enough rock. Meanwhile, in the computer center, Lisa Carter was doing something that would have shocked the Krathen Empire if they had understood it. She was breaking into their communication networks and computer systems. "This is almost too easy," Lisa said to her assistant, Kevin Brooks. "Their security is like leaving your front door wide open with a sign that says, 'Please come in.'" Krathen systems had no protection against what humans called cyber warfare. In their 300 years of conquest, they had never met a species that would try to lie to them or trick them with false information. Every species they had conquered had been honest and straightforward. "What are you putting into their system?" Kevin asked. "Confusion," Lisa said with a smile. "I am changing their sensor readings to show false targets. I am adding delays to their communications so orders take longer to reach their ships. And I am putting viruses into their navigation computers that will activate when we need them to." "Is that not cheating?" Kevin asked. Lisa laughed. "Kevin, when someone is trying to destroy an entire planet of innocent people, there is no such thing as cheating. There's only winning and losing." In the medical bay, Dr. Amanda Foster was working with Zephyrian scientists through the communication link. She was learning about their atmospheric control systems and how they might be used as weapons. "Dr. Foster," said the Zephyrian scientist, whose name was Kelman, "our atmospheric processors can create localized weather patterns. We use them to bring rain to dry areas or clear storms from our cities. Can you create electromagnetic disturbances?" Amanda asked. "Like lightning storms, but more controlled." "Yes, but why would we want to do that?" Amanda smiled. "Because those Krathen fighter ships use electronic systems to fly. If you can create electromagnetic pulses at the right time and place, you can make their ships stop working." The Zephyrian was quiet for a moment. "I never thought of using our weather control systems to fight. It seems wrong to turn something meant to help people into a weapon." "I understand," Amanda said gently. "But sometimes good people have to do hard things to protect others. You're not becoming evil. You're becoming strong enough to defend your world." While his crew worked on their preparations, Jake Morrison studied everything they knew about Krathen military tactics. Ryan Cole sat with him in the strategy room, going through battle reports from worlds the Krathens had conquered. "They always do the same thing," Ryan said, pointing at the data on their screens. "They surround the planet, demand surrender, then bombard any resistance until the defenders give up. They have never had to fight a real battle." "What do you mean?" Jake asked. "Look at their ship formations. They spread out in a circle around the planet, but they do not protect each other. Each ship fights alone. They have never fought an enemy that uses coordinated tactics." Jake nodded. "They are used to fighting farmers and artists, not soldiers." "Exactly, and look at their weapons. Everything is designed for long-range bombardment. They have powerful guns for shooting at planets and large ships, but almost no close-range defenses. So, if we can get close to them, ... double quotes, Jake began. "Their big guns cannot target us," Ryan finished. "It would be like trying to swat a fly with a baseball bat." Jake stood up and activated the ship's communication system. "All hands, this is the commander. I want everyone to listen carefully." Throughout the ship, crew members stopped their work to hear what Jake had to say. "In a few hours, we are going to fight a battle that should be impossible to win. The enemy has 40 ships. We have one. They have been conquering worlds for 3 centuries. We have never fought aliens before. By every logical calculation, we should lose." Jake paused, looking around the strategy room at his senior officers. "But here's what the Krathens do not know about humans. We did not evolve to be the strongest or the fastest or the smartest species on our planet. We evolved to be the most stubborn. When something tries to kill us, we do not run away and hide. We figure out how to kill it back. Through the ship, crew members nodded and smiled grimly. They knew their commander was right. The Krathens think they are apex predators, Jake continued. They think they are the most dangerous things in the galaxy. They are wrong. The most dangerous thing in the galaxy is a human being who has decided that something needs to be stopped. In the engineering bay, Ben Harper held up one of his kinetic penetrators. The metal rod was 3 feet long and weighed 50 pounds. And fired from their modified mining equipment, it would travel at nearly 20% of light speed. Let's show these aliens what humans do to bullies, Ben said to his team in the computer center. Lisa Carter finished uploading her viruses into the Krathen fleet's systems. Their computers are compromised, she announced. Starts, half their ships will not know which way is up. In the medical bay, Dr. Foster concluded her planning session with the Zephyrian scientists. Your atmospheric weapons are ready, she told them. When we give the signal, you can disable any fighter ships that come near your planet. Ryan Cole finished checking the ship's defensive systems. All weapons ready, Commander. Our shields are at maximum power. Jake looked at his crew one more time. These people had volunteered for a mission of exploration and discovery. They were preparing to fight a war against impossible odds, but none of them looked scared. They looked determined. Admiral Vexstar gave us 24 hours to surrender, Jake said. We have 6 hours left. Let's use that time to teach the Krathen Empire something they have never learned before. What is that, sir? Lisa Carter asked. Jake smiled, and there was something predatory in that smile. Something that came from millions of years of human evolution on a world where only the smartest and most adaptable survived. Difference between being the biggest predator in the galaxy and being the smartest, Jake said. The Krathens are about to meet something they have never encountered before. They are about to meet Deathworlders, who fight back. As the final preparations continued, the Krathen fleet maintained its blockade around the peaceful planet below. Admiral Vexstar was confident that the single human ship would surrender when faced with his overwhelming firepower. Had no idea that the humans were not planning to surrender. They were planning to hunt. The countdown to battle had begun. Across the Valiant, 87 humans prepared to show the galaxy what happened when someone threatened innocent people under their protection. The Krathens thought they were dealing with another weak species. They were about to learn the most important lesson in the history of their empire. Never pick a fight with someone who evolved on a world that spent millions of years trying to kill them. The attack began at 3 a.m, ship time. Jake Morrison had chosen this hour carefully. Human bodies were naturally slow and tired at this time, but human minds were at their most predatory. It was the time when ancient humans had hunted dangerous prey in the darkness. The Krathen fleet floated in their perfect circle around the planet Ethros, confident and relaxed. Admiral Vexstar was asleep in his command chamber, dreaming of adding another conquered world to his collection. His ships were on routine patrol, their crews bored after weeks of easy blockade duty. The U's Valiant came out of quantum drive like a bullet fired from a gun. Instead of slowing down as they approached the enemy fleet, Jake had ordered maximum speed. The ship screamed toward the Krathen formation at a velocity that should have been impossible for such a large vessel. All stations, this is it, Jake announced over the ship's communication system. Remember, we are not just fighting for ourselves. We are fighting for every innocent species these bullies have ever hurt. Ben Harper sat in the main gun control room, his hands steady on the firing controls. Around him, his modified mining equipment hummed with deadly energy. The kinetic penetrators were loaded and ready. Each one was a simple metal rod, but when fired at near light speed, they became weapons of devastating power. Target the 3 biggest ships first. Jake's voice came through the speakers. Hit them hard and fast before they know what is happening.
Roger.
That, Commander, Ben replied, firing in 3, 2, 1. The first kinetic penetrator left the Valiant with a sound like thunder. It crossed the space between the ships in less than 2 seconds. The Krathen heavy cruiser it hit never knew what killed it. The metal rod punched through the alien ships. Armor, like it was made of paper, traveled through the entire length of the vessel and came out the other side. The ship exploded in a ball of fire that lit up the darkness of space. The second and third shots followed immediately. 2 more Krathen ships died before their crews could even sound an alarm. The perfectly ordered blockade formation suddenly had 3 enormous holes in it. What was that? Admiral Vextar's voice screamed over the Krathen communication channels. Report. What just attacked us? But the Krathen crews were too confused to answer. They had never seen weapons like these before. Their sensors could not track the kinetic penetrators because they were not energy-based. To the Krathen instruments, it looked like their ships were simply exploding for no reason, while the enemy fleet tried to figure out what was happening. Lisa Carter activated her cyber warfare program. Suddenly, half the Krathen ships lost contact with their command vessel. Their navigation systems began showing false readings. Some ships thought they were under attack by their own allies. Enemy fleet is in chaos, Lisa reported with satisfaction. Their communications are completely scrambled. They cannot coordinate any response. Ryan Cole had positioned the Valiants for shuttlecraft around the battle area before the attack began. Each small ship carried a crew of 3 and a cargo bay full of kinetic penetrators. Now these tiny vessels began their own assault on the confused Krathen fleet. The shuttle piloted by Tony Martinez dove toward a Krathen destroyer like a hawk attacking prey. The alien ship's massive guns tried to target the small craft, but they moved too slowly. The shuttle fired its load of metal rods into the destroyer's engine section and pulled away as the ship exploded behind it. This is like shooting fish in a barrel, Tony laughed over the radio. These guys have no idea how to fight small, fast targets. The second shuttle, flown by Kevin Brooks, used a different tactic. Instead of attacking from the front, he came up from below where the Krathen ship's guns could not reach. His kinetic penetrators tore through the vessel's hull and destroyed its main reactor. Another enemy ship became an expanding cloud of debris. On the planet's surface, Dr. Foster coordinated with the Zephyrian scientists to activate their atmospheric weapons. The peaceful aliens had never used their weather control systems for war, but they followed her instructions carefully.
Oh?
Kelman, Amanda said into her communicator, create the electromagnetic pulse directly above the enemy fighter squadron. Far below, the Zephyrian scientist activated his atmospheric processor. The machine that normally brought gentle rain to farms and cities now created a localized lightning storm in space above the planet. Bolts of electromagnetic energy lashed out at the Krathen fighter craft trying to attack the surface. The alien fighters fell from the sky like birds with broken wings. Their electronic systems had been designed to resist cosmic radiation and solar flares, but not the focused electromagnetic assault that the Zephyrians could create. Dozens of fighter craft crashed into the planet's oceans, their pilots unable to control their disabled ships. Back in the main battle, Admiral Vextar was trying desperately to regain control of his fleet. His mighty armada was being destroyed by tactics he could not understand. All ships concentrate fire on the human vessel, he ordered. Destroy them now. But his orders were not reaching most of his ships because of Lisa's cyber attack. Few vessels that did receive the command found themselves unable to target the Valiant effectively. Jake Morrison was flying the big ship like it was a fighter craft, using maneuvers that should have been impossible for something so large. How are they moving like that? One Krathen captain asked in confusion. That ship is huge. It should not be able to turn so quickly. What the Krathens did not understand was that human ships were built differently than theirs. Krathen vessels were designed for comfort and straight-line speed. Human ships were built by a species that had learned to be flexible and adaptable in order to survive. Ben Harper continued firing his kinetic penetrators with deadly accuracy. Each shot destroyed or disabled another enemy vessel. The Krathen fleet, which had seemed invincible an hour ago, was being systematically torn apart. Ben, how many shots do we have left? Jake asked. 12 more penetrators in the main gun, Ben replied. But at this rate, we might not need them all.
Jake
Looked at his tactical display. Of the original 40 Krathen ships, only 18 were still fighting. The rest were either destroyed or floating dead in space with their systems disabled. The mighty empire that had conquered hundreds of worlds was being defeated by a single human ship and 4 shuttles. Admiral Vextar finally realized that his fleet was doomed. All remaining ships, retreat, he ordered. Fall back to the jump point and prepare to leave this system. But Jake Morrison had anticipated this. The Valiant was positioned between the Krathen fleet and their escape route, the surviving enemy. Ships tried to flee. They found their path blocked by the human vessel. Going somewhere? She gasped over the open communication channel. You cannot stop us all, Vextar snarled. We will ram your ship if we have to. You could try, Jake said. Calmly, but I should mention something. Do you see those objects floating near your ships? Admiral Vextar looked at his sensors and saw dozens of small objects drifting among his fleet. They looked like pieces of debris from the destroyed ships. Those are not debris, Jake explained. Those are mines, remote-controlled kinetic penetrators, that my shuttles have been placing around your ships for the last 20 minutes. If any of your vessels try to leave without my permission, those mines will activate. The Krathen admiral stared at his displays in horror. His entire remaining fleet was surrounded by human weapons. He had walked into a trap without even realizing it. What do you want? Vextar asked quietly. Surrender, Jake said simply. Lower your shields, power down your weapons, and prepare to be boarded. Any ship that tries to fight or escape will be destroyed. One by one, the surviving Krathen vessels lowered their shields and shut down their weapon systems. The great fleet that had terrorized the galaxy for centuries had been defeated by AT-7 humans and a handful of peaceful aliens. As Ryan Cole prepared boarding parties to secure the enemy ships, Jake opened a communication channel to the planet below. Chancellor Larinus, this is Commander Morrison. The Krathen fleet has surrendered. Your world is free. The response from the planet was a mixture of joy and disbelief. The Zephyrians had lived under the threat of conquest for months. Now, in less than 2 hours, their oppressors had been completely defeated. But Jake knew this was just the beginning. Word of this battle would spread throughout the galaxy. Other species would learn that the Krathen Empire could be beaten. More importantly, they would learn that there was a new species among the stars, one that did not tolerate bullies. The age of Krathen dominance was over. The age of human protection had begun. 3 days after the battle, Jake Morrison stood in the main cargo bay of the EU's Valiant, watching something that no human had ever seen before. Wounded Krathen soldiers were being treated by Dr. Amanda Foster and her medical team. Aliens who had threatened to destroy entire worlds now lay on human medical beds. Receiving care from the people they had tried to kill, Admiral Vextar sat in the corner of the medical bay, his scaled arm in a healing cast. He watched the human doctors work with confusion in his yellow eyes. When his ship had been disabled, he had expected to be tortured or executed. Instead, the humans had rescued him from his burning vessel and treated his injuries. I do not understand your species, Vextar said to Dr. Foster as she checked his bandages. You defeated us completely. Why do you help us now? Amanda looked up from her work. Because you are hurt and I am a doctor. It is that simple. But we are your enemies. We tried to destroy you. You were our enemies, Amanda corrected. Tense. The fighting is over. Now you are just people who need medical help. Vextar was quiet for a long moment. In 300 years of conquest, his people had never shown mercy to defeated enemies. They had never received mercy either. This concept of treating prisoners with kindness was completely foreign to him. Across the ship, other humans were doing equally strange things. Ben Harper was teaching captured Krathen engineers about human technology, sharing knowledge that could make their former enemies stronger. Lisa Carter was helping Krathen communication officers repair their damaged ships instead of leaving them stranded in space. Your people are either very wise or very foolish, Vextar told Dr. Foster. Maybe both, Amanda replied with a smile. But we learned something important during our history. Winning a war is not enough. You have to win the peace, too. Meanwhile, on the planet below, Jake Morrison was meeting with Chancellor Larinus and the Zephyrian Leadership Council. The meeting took place in a beautiful building that seemed to be made of living crystal. Soft light flowed through the walls, like slow water, and the air smelled of flowers that had no names in any human language. Commander Morrison, Chancellor Larini, said, "Our people owe you a debt we can never repay. You saved our entire civilization." Jake shook his head. "You do not owe us anything, Chancellor. We did what any decent people would do when they saw bullies hurting innocents. But you risked everything for strangers," said another Zephyrian. "Council member named Velthar, your ship, your lives, your entire species. If you had lost, the Krathens might have attacked your home world next." "That is exactly why we had to fight," Jake explained. "Evil grows when good people do nothing to stop it. If we had run away, the Krathens would have continued hurting others. Eventually they would have come for Earth anyway." The Zephyrians looked at each other with wonder. Their species had lived in peace for so long that they had forgotten how to think about conflict and protection. The idea that violence could sometimes be necessary to protect innocents was a new concept for them. "We want to learn from you," Chancellor Lorena said. "It's not just your technology, but your way of thinking. How do we protect ourselves if something like this happens again?" "We will teach you," Jake promised. "But remember, the goal is not to become conquerors like the Krathens. The goal is to become guardians." Over the following weeks, something remarkable happened. News of the Battle of Ethros spread across the galaxy faster than anyone had thought possible. The story grew with each telling. A single human ship had defeated an entire Krathen fleet. The mighty empire that had seemed unstoppable for 3 centuries had been brought down by newcomers to the galactic community. Other oppressed species began to take notice. On distant worlds, people who had lived in fear of Krathen conquest started to hope again. Some began sending their own distress signals toward the Sol system, hoping that more humans would come to help them. But the most important changes were happening. Right in the Kepler 442 system, Dr. Foster was working with Zephyrian medical experts. To create the first interspecies medical protocols, human and alien doctors were learning to treat patients they had never seen before. "Your healing techniques are amazing," Dr. Foster told Kelman, the Zephyrian scientist. "The way you use light therapy to repair tissue damage is centuries beyond anything we have on Earth. And your surgical methods are so precise," Kelman replied. "We had never thought of using such small instruments to fix such complex problems." Ben Harper was having similar success, sharing technology with Zephyrian engineers. The aliens had incredible knowledge about energy manipulation and environmental control. Humans brought practical engineering and defensive systems. "Look at this," Ben said excitedly, showing Jake a new device Zephyrians can create. "Energy shields that are 10 times more efficient than anything we have. Combined with human defensive tactics, a ship with this technology would be almost impossible to destroy." Even more surprising was what was happening with the captured Krathon prisoners. Instead of being angry about their defeat, many of them seemed almost relieved. For centuries, their empire had forced them to fight and conquer, never allowing them to rest or live in peace. Admiral Vextar had become an unexpected source of information about other threatened worlds. "There is a system called Nixira Prime," he told Jake during one of their conversations. "My people have been planning to attack it next month. The inhabitants are peaceful traders who have never hurt anyone." "Why are you telling me this?" Jake asked. Vextar was quiet for a moment, then said, "Because I have seen what mercy looks like now. The first time in my life I was defeated. In battle, and allowed to live, your people showed me that there is another way to exist besides constant conquest." "What will you do now?" Jake asked. "I want to help you stop my former empire," Vextar said firmly. "They will not listen to surrender demands. But they might listen to one of their own admirals, telling them that continuing this war will only bring destruction." Word of the alliance between humans, Zephyrians, and reformed Krathens reached the Galactic Council within a month. The Council was a loose organization of peaceful species that had been powerless to stop the Krathen Empire for centuries. Now they were sending urgent messages to Earth, begging humanity to join their ranks. Jake received the formal invitation while standing on the bridge of the Valiant. The message came from Council Speaker Mordok, a being from a species that looked like walking trees with silver bark. "Commander Morrison," the translated message said. The Galactic Council formally invites humanity to join our organization as a full member species. We offer you all the benefits of advanced technology and interstellar trade. In return, we ask only that you share your knowledge and perhaps provide protection for our more vulnerable members. Jake looked around at his crew. These people had signed up for exploration and discovery. Instead, they had become the galaxy's first line of defense against tyranny. "What do you think?" he asked them. "I think we have to say yes," Dr. Foster said. "There are too many species out there who need help," agreed, said Ben Harper. "Besides, imagine what we could learn from all these different civilizations." Ryan Cole nodded. "And if we do not join, who is going to stop the next empire that decides to start conquering peaceful worlds?" Lisa Carter smiled. "Plus, I want to see what their computer systems look like. I bet they have some interesting technology we could adapt." Jake activated the communication system. "Speaker Murdoch, this is Commander Morrison. Humanity accepts your invitation to join the Galactic Council, but we have some conditions." "What conditions?" the tree-like alien asked. "First, we will share our defensive knowledge with any species that wants to learn it. Second, we will respond to distress calls from any council member under attack. Third, we will train volunteer forces from other species to protect themselves." "These terms are more than acceptable," Speaker Murdoch replied. "When can you come to the council headquarters?" "We will be there as soon as we finish our work here," Jake said. As the communication ended, Jake looked out at the stars surrounding the peaceful world of Ethros. Somewhere out there, other tyrants were threatening other innocent species. Now, they would find something waiting for them that they had never encountered before. Humans who had decided that bullying would not be tolerated. The galaxy had been ruled by fear for too long. Now it would be protected by something much more powerful. The stubborn refusal of Deathworlders to let evil go unpunished. Admiral Vexstar, now wearing a human uniform as an advisor, joined Jake on the bridge. "Commander, my scouts report that 3 more Krathan fleets are heading toward Council space. They do not yet know what happened here." Jake smiled, and there was something predatory in that expression. "Then I guess it is time to teach them, Lisa. Send a message to Earth. Tell them we need more ships and more volunteers." "What should I tell them we are doing out here?" Lisa asked. "Tell them we are taking out the trash," Jake said. "And tell them the galaxy is a lot bigger and more interesting than we thought." As the Valiant prepared to leave for its next mission, the people of Ethros watched from their crystal. Cities, their children, who had grown up in fear of conquest, now played games about brave humans who protected the innocent.